Hi, Allard family. Um, I am Wendy, and I am one of the Get Back Up co-captains. I'm one of the newest members, and I live in Oregon. And a little bit about me, real quick. Um, I was a gymnast my whole life, and runner, just active. And then while living abroad in Bermuda, I was in a motor accident that left me without the use of my left leg, and it took them 3 years to figure out what was going on. So my life was just kind of on hold for 3 years. And then finally, after 3 years, I finally got connected with my first Allard, and I went for a run like that very first day. It was amazing. And a couple months later, I ran a half marathon and then a full, and then I've been running marathons ever since. So that was back in like 2013. So I love my Allard, and I've been very excited to get connected with the Allard family, and everybody is amazing. And I'm super excited. Today we're going to be talking with Lainie, who is an Allard user, and I'm super excited to hear more about her story and to, yeah, hear about what she has been doing. I love hearing how people take lemons that happen in life and make lemons. So let's get Lainie on here.
Hi,
Hey, there we go. Hi,
this is
Lainey.
so cool. Hi, how are
This is
you?
cool. I'm Wendy. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, Wendy. It's so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for having me on.
And where are you at then? Where are we talking to you from?
I live in Michigan, just outside of Detroit, and
Oh, awesome.
obviously, this is the most
Perfect. And I'm
exciting
I'm in
part of
Oregon.
my week here.
What's that?
I said things have changed, right? Like this is the most exciting part of my week. I mean,
Right? I know.
things have changed. Yeah.
It definitely is. It's a reason to get up and do a little bit of makeup too, so it's good.
Yeah, or like the first time I think in 7 weeks I put on lip gloss because with the masks there's no need for lip gloss.
Right, right. So it's good. Well, I'm excited to get to know more about you. I've been reading your story and it's amazing. So, um, okay,
Cool.
yeah, so just tell us a little bit about the diagnosis that led to you having foot drop.
Yeah. So I have a neuromuscular condition. It's called Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease, which is a ridiculous name, but it's really three doctors, Charcot, Marie, and Tooth, who, I guess discovered or named the disease. And it's actually more common than one would think. I think it's actually as common as MS. But people really haven't even heard of it because a lot of times it's misdiagnosed. I myself, it's an inherited disease. There's many different types. I have the most common type, which is called type 1. And so I kind of knew what it was about because my mom had it, my sister had it.
Wow.
It's 50% chance of, I think, I missed this in high school, but autosomal dominant, so my kids had a 50% chance of getting it. And one of my children, my daughter Zoe, has it. And for me, it's affects both my hands and my feet. And like I said, it's slowly progressive. So as a young kid, had I not had a mom who had it, no one would have noticed it. I just
Right.
probably wasn't good at gym, and definitely not good at anything outdoors related and jumping and all running. I was uncoordinated, not a picked first ever for any teams. And so that's kind of how it was when I was a little kid. I didn't wear leg braces. I just did what I guess normal kids did and wore shorts and ran around slowly and did my thing. And when I was in my late 20s, I was living in Chicago with my then well, he was my husband then, but and he was in school, and I just was falling a lot more than I normally did. So it started out that I was tripping, but then I was falling to the point that the foot drop was, making me actually fall on sidewalks. And
Wow.
that's when I went into braces. And it's really my hands, I think, that in the last 10 years have really progressed the most. So you wouldn't know it from seeing them, but, I can't pick up small objects, especially small flat objects, buttons, doing things that involve your pincher grip. So
Yeah.
for the most part, and people who have Charcot-Marie-Tooth, though, it can range, like I said. So, there's people who have my type who are in wheelchairs. There's people who have, problems with their lungs, all different types. For me, it's mostly, it is only my peripheral muscles, so my legs and my hands.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, thank you for describing a little bit because yeah, that's new to me too. So how old were you then when you started having symptoms?
So I always was klutzy, not great at anything athletic. And when I'm almost 50. It's hard to say out loud, but I got to get used to it. I am almost 50. And back then, when I was in middle school and I walked on the outsides of my feet, I guess. That's what I'm told. I don't remember walking on the outsides of my feet, but I rolled my ankles, I guess. I never had ankle sprains or broken feet or anything, probably because I was overly cautious.
Yeah.
But what they did then, because I didn't know a lot about this condition, and I rolled on the outsides of my feet. So preventatively, I had going into my freshman year in high school, I had a major surgery on both feet. It's called a triple arthrodesis, which basically means that they fused my ankles together. So they took 3 pins and put them together, and in each ankle, they're fused.
Wow.
So I have no movement at all, like 0 movement sideways and 0 movement up and down. And truthfully, the surgery is what caused me to have more symptoms because,
Oh,
it was
really?
harder to walk at that time. It was harder to
Yeah.
walk upstairs after it was all over. It was harder to do things because you use this, movement more than you
Yeah.
even realize that you do. So for me now, I try to exercise all the time and I stay as active as I can be. And I do stairs. I don't know if you can even see in my house, but, I have stairs. I don't avoid them. But for me to go up a stair, it's like, probably, 10 times harder than for a person who has this motion because I'm just
Yeah.
lifting my entire leg,
Yeah.
without that rolling ability.
Yeah.
So.
So that's not a normal surgery then? That was just because they were completely unaware what was going on?
Well, I think that some people who are prone to ankle sprains a lot and who are falling, and breaking things, that might be something they would still do. They probably have evolved. The surgeries now are, much more advanced. I was in, a wheelchair. It was a major operation. I mean, I started high school in 2 leg casts in a wheelchair,
Wow.
and
Wow.
then was in walking casts, 2 walking casts for like 6 months. I mean, it was a major thing. And I don't know what life would have been like had I not had that surgery. My daughter, who I said, has Charcot-Marie-Tooth, you wouldn't know she had anything. And that's, probably why a lot of people haven't heard of Charcot-Marie-Tooth, because there's a lot of people walking around with, mild foot drop, and who don't even know that they have it until it becomes, severe. So, yeah.
And how hard, being a kid and then a teen and not really know what's going on. So kind of tell us what was that like?
So I had a lot of problems. If anybody, I don't know who's watching this, but I did
It'd be
post it. I
hard.
mean, people who knew me back then, my mom has since passed away, and in the last
Oh,
2
I'm
years,
sorry.
also my father. So she would have loved to see this. She would have loved it, but I went to boarding school. I acted out. I had very, very poor self-esteem and body image because, I had this invisible disability. People, like I said, couldn't tell. I don't use a visible mobility device that people would see to know I have issues. And so it was only me having to, as a kid, say, hey, I can't walk that fast, or I have trouble with my balance going up. As a kid, I went on a trip to Israel and you climbed Masada,
Yeah.
and I did all those things. I just didn't do them fast or well, so, it's embarrassing as a kid with low self-esteem to feel like you're slowing the rest of the group down. So things like that had an effect on my self-esteem. I don't think I realized until I was an adult that having Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease was what, contributed to that. Mostly because we didn't really even talk about it. It was just something I had and something I couldn't do anything about. There's no cure. There's no treatment at all. So there was nothing. That was what my mom always said, like, there's nothing you can do. This is what you have. Just deal with it. So my daughter, and I talk about it. I think she's much more aware because of what I do with Trendable and the blog and whatnot. She's much more aware of neuropathy and, a lot of people with Charcot-Marie-Tooth have a lot of pain. And I don't have as severe pain as a lot of people. I'm very lucky, but, occasionally I'll have what's called, neuropathy pain with tingling, numbness feeling in my feet, and my fingers. And I think, my daughter is much more in tune to that because she hears about it all the time. So yeah.
So I bet, I mean, that's great that she has you to, to talk to, and, and you've experienced it, and to be able to help her through that. Cause I can imagine that is hard, especially, as you called it, an invisible disability to,
right.
to cope with
and
that.
there wasn't awareness, when I was growing up. I mean, now, I guess being different, being true to yourself, being who you are, and like accepting your imperfections is a trendy thing, which is great. Being authentic. It wasn't like, authenticity wasn't an everyday word growing up. It was like, you needed to look like, growing up in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
you felt like the models were, I forgot, Kate Moss, like they were anorexic looking, and they, it was chic to be what people thought was perfection. So, you didn't see models at that time in different shapes and sizes. There wasn't plus size, body positivity. It was like, you needed to be thin and pretty and not have anything show that is wrong with you. And now my daughter is, my own daughter has really high self-esteem because she knows that sharing who you are is how you meet people and how you connect with people. And I wasn't clued into that as a kid. So I was trying to pretend to be a perfect kid with all these problems that I couldn't understand and didn't know how to talk about with anybody.
Yeah.
So.
And it is nice to hear that, we have come a little way, and it is hard. Cause I remember I was in my 30s when I had my accident, and then started wearing braces. And even for me, it was a little bit like, I was a little self-conscious about it at first, and so I can't even imagine. And we do have a couple, team members that are, we have one that's a teenager. Hi, Trent. I don't know if they're watching, and Adam. And I think it's so cool that they're, that they're like spreading the word, and just raising awareness, and I love it. And it looks like we have a question, and this is a good one,
Sure.
from Diane. It says, at what point did you realize it was time to get AFOs, and was it hard to accept needing braces?
Okay, well, when I was falling all the time and scraping my knees and legs, and it, had an effect on my everyday life, meaning it wasn't just, I fell once a month and I could brush it off. But when it came to the point where I was falling and tripping over everything, then I knew it was time. And, for those of you who are watching who have foot drop and who don't wear braces, I can remember I wasn't able to go to a mall, for example, and walk the length of a mall easily. It felt like you're carrying dead weight, like a 1,000-pound elephant that you're dragging. So that, became more apparent to me that, I was slower. And my mom wore braces. So I think I was like, okay, well, I can see my mom, who wasn't athletic, and that she was walking everywhere. So, that kind of led me to, and at the time when I got my first set of braces, I went through the Muscular Dystrophy Association. I was, in graduate school, didn't have much money, didn't have health insurance, and muscular dystrophy at the time gave you a free set of braces, because Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease falls under the muscular dystrophy umbrella. Although it's a disease of the nerves, it falls under that. It still does, actually. So at the Muscular Dystrophy Association, they gave me ankle braces, ankle, because that's all I didn't deal with the idea. I have just having your ankle supported does nothing. You need the whole calf to be supported to not fall. And I talk about this on my blog all the time, but getting my first set of AFOs was the real AFOs after those ankle braces was awful, because here I was, in my late 20s. I cared about how I looked. I still care about how I look. And I felt like I always was into fashion. And although I could never wear heels in my whole life, I had shoes that at least looked cute. And when I got that, they gave me, which they still do now, as you are probably aware, when I got my first set of braces, they gave me those plastic, heavy plastic braces that you would picture when someone wears braces. That's what they gave me. There was no choice. There was no like, here, let's look at some options that fit you. That was it. I've since learned that there's a whole bunch involved with that, with insurance and coding and people getting paid. And I'm not going to go into that because that's a whole other thing. But I know that a lot of people who follow me wear those plastic braces, and it's because they were only given those, and they didn't know to assert themselves and to do research and to find out what are options. They also didn't know, which I didn't know, that to be an orthotist, like an orthotist is a real training and whatnot, but a lot of people who fit braces aren't orthotists. They're overseen by an orthotist, supposedly, but where I went, there was no orthotist who came in, no real doctor. It was like a dude who took a 2-week course and, puts the paper mache on your legs, and then you're casted like you would for a cast and whatnot. And so those plastic braces, I was like, no way am I going to wear those. And they sat, I continued to fall, continued to have problems, and they sat in my closet for, at least a couple months until I brought them out and tried to work with them. And I wore those plastic braces for a good 2 years. And a lot of people tell me that that's what they have to wear because of whatever, and I say to them, anybody who asks me my opinion, I say carbon fiber. My disease has not gotten better. So if I'm a testament to them, I'm a poster child, because I started out in the heavy plastic braces, and now I wear, the Allard braces, which are lightweight, which fit a lot more shoes, which are low profile and slim, and obviously work better for me and my lifestyle, and probably for most people's lifestyles. So had I known that that was something that existed, I would have advocated for myself back then. But now
how long did it take then before you then got fitted for your first Allard?
So I wore those plastic braces, like I said, for probably a good 2 years. I even figured out, how to wear them with sandals. I was like a master of the white plastic braces. And I talk about that on my blog too, of how to do that if you do wear those, how to make the most of it. And I don't remember how I found out about the Allard braces. I was switching, those orthotic, like those offices, some of them are so horrible. You wait forever, like cattle call. And I switched offices, and I got a different orthotist who showed me options. And that was life-changing. I mean, truly life-changing. I mean, I can remember it was the most exciting thing ever. I was like, oh, you mean I can like fit my foot into those shoes like that look like regular shoes? I was so exciting. And I was like, and then I just kept on trying different things. I'm like, oh, well, you know, if I can wear that, well, can I wear a small, tiny wedge? Like, is that possible? I was like, okay, well, you know what? I know it says on the instructions of the Allard braces, like all do. And I know that a doctor would say, you know, wear only your gym shoes with ties or laces, you know, New Balance or whatever they tell them. I was like, okay, well, for me, if it fits, it's comfortable, and I can walk, you know, like that's all I care about. Like, it's not going to make things worse. It's going to make me feel better. So I just started to experiment with all different types of shoes, and, you know, everyone's abilities are different, but I realized that there's a whole lot I didn't think I could do that I could do. When I got those Allard braces, for example, I had never ridden a bike as an adult. Like, I just didn't think I could ride a bike. I made an assumption because I have bad balance, and because I hadn't ridden a bike since I was a little kid and didn't like it much when I did it as a little kid. And I started out, when I got those Allard braces, I got one of those like adult tricycle bikes. And I thought it was pretty cool around my neighborhood. And then I actually graduated to a, you know, roadster, like a cruiser
That's
bike.
awesome.
And yeah, so it was the Allard, the braces started like were the impetus of so many life changes for me. And they helped me to feel so much more confident than I had in ages. And you know, I was like, it was life changing. I don't work for Allard. I have nothing to do with Allard. It was just the idea of having these lightweight things that no one, you know, I'm not someone who chooses to walk around showing them. A lot of people do. And you know what? Like, everyone should do what feels good to them and what makes them feel confident. For me, I don't want to talk about having CMT the first time I meet someone. I don't want to have to explain why I wear braces. It's just not, I'm not embarrassed. I just don't want to. So the Allard braces, like the slim, the carbon fiber, I easily am able to cover them. And yeah, I just babbled on and on and on.
I love it. No, I love it. I love it. And I'm glad getting that your Allard was life-changing. So I know I love mine. And now the exciting part. Tell us a little bit about your website and your mission with that. And I love this.
Sure. So, I mean, as I said, I had a lot of problems as a teenager. I was low self-esteem, all the stuff that I mentioned. And when it's been, oh my gosh, I've had the website now for about it's almost 2.5 years. And when I have a master's in social work, and I've done a lot of public speaking, a lot of workshops, therapy with people with low self-esteem. So I went to help people immediately into grad school and like wanted to help. At the time, it was women and girls, doing a lot of self-esteem workshops and body image, all the stuff that I had worked on myself. So I have this master's in social work. I love to write. I was an English major a long time ago, and I always have been into fashion, and had like I was like in the eBay world of flipping fashion before eBay was eBay a long time ago. So I was always into that and finding clothes for my friends and telling them what looks good. So it's like, you know what? I think I should put all of this together. In addition to the fact that my mom at the time, her hands were getting so much worse. Her hands were like this, like a fist. And she had a lot of trouble getting dressed and putting on her shoes and her clothes. And but she was fiercely independent and always busy, like always had friends that she was meeting for lunch. And she couldn't even get herself like physically out of a chair. Like, she needed people to pull her up out of a chair because she didn't have that strength to be able to get up out of a chair, but it didn't stop her. She'd ask someone, she had no problem saying, hey, you know, and she did it with humor and with grace. And I was like, and the part about the clothing, we would put loops in my mom's pants so that, when she went to the bathroom, she could put her hands, like her fists, inside the loops to be able to help to put them up. We did
So
that.
clever.
She, on her seatbelt in her car, she would take, like the seatbelt extenders, and she added those. She would put little, I don't like, what do you use? Like twine. She would like tie twine. We would tie twine onto things so that she could easily grab them. So it's like, you know what? A friend of mine, when I was trying to figure out what Trendable was going to be and how I was going to help people, she's like, you're so resourceful. She's like, you should just talk about all that, like how to find shoes when you wear leg braces and how to tweak your world. I should say how to tweak your life so that you can live your life, without having to say, I can't do that. So I started Trendable, and I started out writing blogs about, having disability and how to talk to people and ask for help when you don't feel so comfortable, how to do that, how to go to an exercise class and feel comfortable to be able to ask the instructor or talk to them about what you have. And then also shoes, which is like what really, I think people who find Trendable, most people, it's because they wear AFOs and they, want ideas for shoes. And so I just post, at this point, there's been hundreds of blogs about the best shoes for foot drop and the summer sandals that fit AFOs. And obviously I'm speaking like as me and giving ideas and suggestions, but I'm not a doctor. I don't know what your body or your condition is. I just know that these fit braces. So most braces, not all braces. So, and a lot of people email me and text me and write me, and I give them suggestions for that and help people to really just be who they are and to feel comfortable in their own skin and, looking good on the outside. Like even just putting on this little bit of makeup I did today, it makes you feel alive. It makes you feel better. And a lot of times people with disabilities will say, I can't, I don't have time. I can't do that. Or I can't do that. They opt to stay home when their family is going on a hiking trip. And it's like, I don't want people to do that. I want people to do what they want to do and find workarounds to be able to do those things. So there are things I legitimately can't do, but if I want to do something like that, like I will find a way to do it, and anybody can. So I just kind of help people, just push them a little to just be themselves and to be the best versions of themselves.
I love that. And Amanda here says, thank you, Lainie. I love Trendable. It changed my outlook and self-confidence. And I love that.
Oh, Amanda. Amanda, I'm dying. I love that. And that makes it so worthwhile to me when I get, emails and people saying, I didn't even know I could wear sandals. I mean, I've probably heard that at least 200 times. I didn't know I could wear sandals. And even people who wear the plastic braces, and it is harder with the plastic braces, but they're like, how can I wear sandals? I'm like, okay, well, this is how I did it. Try it. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. But this worked for me. And, you can take it and run, or you can choose to be miserable. It's people's choice. Most people want to feel good. They want to be confident, and, fashion and being yourself and not feeling like your disability is holding you back, and I don't feel that way. Like, I feel like, I can't wear heels, and I would rock heels for sure. I know I would. I would be like, I'd be getting the pink ones. I would love it, right? But I can't do that. But I can do something similar. I can find a really cool flat shoe that fits my AFOs, that has, that's in a wide width to be able to fit my AFOs. I can take elastic. I can go to a shoe person and have them put elastic across that flat so that it holds my brace in so that my foot doesn't slip out of it. Which, by the way, even if someone doesn't wear braces, like a lot of people have trouble keeping their shoes on. I
Yeah.
can do that. If I want to wear cowboy boots, and cowboy boots don't have, most cowboy boots, aside from the heel, let's forget the heel. Let's pretend we found a pair of cowboy boots that had like a little tiny heel. You can't wear a pull-on shoe, right, with a brace. You need a big enough opening. So easily someone, takes money, but they can go to a shoe peddler person. They can have a full length zipper put into any shoe. So little things like that, that I do, I just share with them. That's it. Did I lose you? I talked so much, I lost you.
No, you kind of froze there for a second. We got you. We got you back though. And I'm like kept waving my hand up, raising my hand. I'm like, I'm one of those people because I mean, both of my jobs, I'm a fitness instructor and gymnastics coach. So I wear tennis shoes with my job, which works for me because that was one of my hard things is that because I'm 4'11", so I used to love wearing high heels. And so that was one thing that I obviously had to give up. But just looking at your website already, I was like, oh my gosh. So we're gonna talk, and I'm gonna look because I'm like, I didn't know about the sandals and
cool. And
because
I have a perfect example. Like you're 4'11", right? So you probably have also a very small size shoe. My daughter, who's she's 19 now, and she's tiny too, and she wears like a woman's size 5. She wears orthotics. She doesn't wear braces yet. She probably will. But I have people who write me, they're like, I can't find any shoes to fit because I wear a size 5, So, easy thing is to convert to a kid's size, right? There's plenty of shoes that are made there's a lot more AFO shoes for children than there are for adults. And so,
and they're cheaper.
An adult 5 is a 3.5 in a kid's size.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know. I'm excited. I was already looking, and because I saw you had mentioned Dr. Scholl's are good, and I'm like, they have cute shoes. So I'm going to do some shopping today. There are so many
brands, and the wonderful thing about wearing, I should say, if you wear braces, okay, AFOs, and again, I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me, but if you wear braces, you don't need to pay $200 for really expensive shoes that you would get in a boutique. Some brands that are like that, like Wolke, which I wore when I first got the plastic braces, or Dance Co. All these brands that are very expensive, people think that they need to wear those. But really, if you are fitted properly for your AFO, the AFOs are what do the work. So the shoes can be cheap shoes, like I help people find shoes that are like under $50 because the braces are doing the work. You just need the shoes to feel comfortable, stay on your feet, and be able to walk in them as well as you would in anything else. People who wear orthotics or no orthosis at all, now they need to find shoes that provide the arch support and all that, but we don't need arch support. I mean, if you wear a brace, you don't need arch support. You need to, like, most of the time you're pulling out the insoles anyways. So yeah.
It's exciting. Well, I can't wait to dig deeper and ask you some questions. So I'm excited. And to everybody watching, before I ask this next question, if you have any questions that you wanted to ask, please go ahead and post those, and we'll try to get to those. So what message do you have for anyone that might be struggling with, physical challenges or just kind of any challenges in general, maybe especially kids and teens going through something similar?
Well, lots of messages, but I would say the first thing is not to be afraid to be who you are and to tell people that you need help. I wrote a blog called A Plate of Pride, How to Ask for Help When You Need It. And it's like a recipe for asking for help, and I was so afraid that I thought, like a lot of people do, that when you need help, or you say, can you help me put on this? Or can you help me do this? Or can you, I felt that was a sign of weakness when I was younger. But it takes so much strength to be able to ask for help. And I would tell people that, you know, when you are vulnerable, you make better connections with people in your life because they relate to you. I mean, when I launched this website and came out with this website, and even in my neighborhood, which, you know, I live in a city that's only a mile from side to side, and obviously everyone's outside because we can't go out anywhere. And so when we can go out, everyone's outside. And people follow my blog that I don't even realize follow my blog. They've never said anything. And all of a sudden, someone will just say, hey, Lainie, you know, I really appreciated your article on this. I have rheumatoid arthritis, or I have MS. And I had no idea that they had that. And they had no idea until and people feel much more comfortable to share with you when you share with them. And there's a fine line between complaining and talking. And so I think a lot of times people with disabilities feel like, oh, I don't want to complain. I don't want to be that person. But you're not that person when you ask for help. People want to help. You're doing them a service by allowing them to do something that makes them feel good too. So, and as long as you're giving back too, like not just taking, you know, it's a mutual relationship.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm
That's so
reading
true.
at the bottom. Someone is writing something, but I can't.
I wore Lainie's. She said, I wore, it's Lori. She said, I wore Lainie's Embrace It shirt for the $1 million bike ride last year. She really helped me to rock my Allards. Thank you. So.
Oh, that's so cool. I know exactly who that is. Hi. So I'm wearing it now. And by the way, on the Trendable website, 100% right now, 100% of the proceeds of these t-shirts are going to Feeding America. So
awesome.
Yeah, and they're $25. They ship anywhere, and
let's see it again. I love it.
Yeah, I have lots of different ones. I have
that's so clever.
Perfectly imperfect, and when things don't go right, go left. I have like 7 different designs that I made, and they've always gone. A portion's always gone to charities, but now 100% at this time is going to charity, to helping Feed America.
Perfect.
So,
that's awesome. I think everyone's going to be shopping today for shirts, and
I hope they do, because it would be great if I could like raise a lot of money. Plus, if you do have the t-shirt and you wear it, please tag me. That's how other people find the website. It's hard to find people who have foot drop because they're not exactly searching for a foot drop. So if you know people who wear braces, please send them my way.
I will. It's awesome. And I love hearing people's stories, how like they take stuff that happened to them and like mix it with their passion and like create something like new and beautiful. And I absolutely love the direction that you went. And I think that's super cool. And like sharing, like you just connect with people so much better. And I love.
I think we're.
And
okay.
In your article, I read too that you said that you're not a person with a disability. Wait, you're a person with a disability, not a disabled person. And I loved that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anybody who would meet me would know that. I mean, you know, people like we talked about before, there's a Show Your Braces movement. I don't even know if that was Allard or who does that, but like, you know, I am all for people showing their braces if that's what they want to do and that makes them feel good. But like I said, you know, it sounds cliche about like, I'm not defined by my disability, but really I'm not. I don't need to model Allard braces. Like I don't feel like they're who I am. They're just something I wear. Like I wear readers, right? Like I wear them because they help me and they really help me. I can walk, to anybody out there, like if you're, you know, in good physical shape and you exercise and you keep your core strong, like I do Pilates and I've done it for 25 years. I mean, I can walk, if I had to, I could walk 10, 20 miles. I mean, I can do that, you know, and I wouldn't have been able to if I didn't wear these braces. There's no way. I don't actually, there's people who say that they sometimes wear their braces. I don't know how they do that because, you know, your feet obviously get used to them. So I can't leave my house without wearing braces, and I don't, or else I wouldn't go anywhere.
When it sounds like you're more active now after having the Allard, like biking and all that stuff. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I said that part of like the life-changing thing was just being able to discover shoes, but also then, you know, when you feel like you look good, like then you're more apt if you're getting compliments on your shoes, for example, you know, and how you present yourself, you hold yourself a little higher and you want to do more. So then, you know, I started to exercise more, and I said that my hands have progressed, but my feet, knock on wood, you know, I probably haven't progressed in 10 years. I'm just as good as I was. And that's because I keep my core strong. So if you have nerve damage like I do, like they're dead, there's nothing I can do. There's no improvement I can do to my balance at all. But if I have a strong core, then I can use other parts of my body to make up for it. So, you know, walking stairs, you know, I have strong upper legs, you know, so I have no calf muscle, but I have really strong thighs, which allows me to make up for that. I feel like I'm going all over the place.
No, that's good. That's what we want. Yeah. And it's cool how the body just kind of adapts too.
Yeah,
and I love
just keep going, right? Like, like the Allard thing, get back up, you know, like you just have to keep moving. And if you know, it's really with all of us being quarantined and in place, you know, even just walking, if you can't go outside, like stand up, set your Alexa timer to say, stand up. I mean, literally I do that. I say, Alexa, set a timer, because before I plop on the couch for the next 8 hours, I need to have intervals where I'm getting up. So I say, Alexa, you know, remind me to get up in an hour. And Alexa comes on, Lainie, you have an appointment to get up. So I get up, you know, and do some squats or do something so that I'm not completely sedentary. It's so funny. Alexa's talking in the background while I said that because
she heard her name.
She heard her name. That's so scary.
How can I help you? So yeah, and tell us too, so where can people find you and follow you and find your website?
Yeah, so I'm here on Instagram. I'm trend.able. So TREND.able. They don't allow a dash on Instagram. And the website is .trend dash, just that little dash across, able.com. I also have a podcast that I co-host with my friend Estella Lugo. She works at the Hereditary Neuropathy Foundation, and she and I have a podcast that you can find on Apple. On my website, you can see the podcast link. You can subscribe through iTunes, and it's called Embrace It. And we talk about leg braces. We talk about life with a disability. We're newbies, so we've done like 5 episodes, and we had to work on our sound and all of that. But hope you check it out. And on Facebook, I don't know, I'm everywhere. So if you just start at the website and come there, it would be great. And I highly encourage you, if there's someone who is watching or sees this who has questions, I am very accessible. So just, you can DM me and I do respond. And I'm not at all an expert on anybody else, but I can give opinions freely, and I do.
Perfect. Well, perfect. And I know I think we posted too on the Allard, I believe, Facebook, some of your information too. We can probably share those again too.
Yeah, and if you go to a convention, do you know that my body is on a big Allard display?
Oh, cool.
Do you know that?
That's awesome.
Well, it's awesome, except for not so awesome because I forgot to say, oh, could you please put in trendable? So it's just, so if you ever go to a show where Allard is showing their braces, I'm like life size.
Oh, cool.
There's a life size version of me. Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's a little scary, but
I'll have to look for that. And then also too, on Get Back Up Today, I know that they also have an article about you as well, and we'll have to reshare that again.
Yeah, Allard has been awesome and really, really helpful in terms of helping me to get the word out. And, you know, it's a nice partnership that we have, unpaid, you know, no strings, but it's really, really nice that you guys, well, Allard and you and everyone who's a part of Allard has been really encouraging and helping to spread the word about Trendable, because I definitely am like a big fan of Allard braces, but also just like I said, the carbon fiber and being able to have a lighter weight shoe and to live your life. Okay, yes. That made no sense, but whatever.
No, it didn't. Well, we're glad you're part of the Allard family. I love it's a great group of people, and I'm glad that I've been connected to. So thank you so much for talking with us today. And it was so nice to hear your story and for sharing your message with us. And I love what you are doing. And I'm gonna go do some browsing today.
Cool.
So,
Thank you so much for having me. It was so fun, and thank you so much. It was a really great.
We'll let you get back to your maybe you got some orders.
Get back to my Netflix.
Yeah.
We've watched it all. I think there's nothing left, but maybe I'll have to find a new channel, I guess.
Well, so nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
I hope to get to meet you in person someday, and keep inspiring.
Thank you. You do the same. Right. Bye. Bye, everyone.